Hey guys, IceWire here and welcome back to the channel. Now today we are going to be talking about Bloodlines 2, Vampire the Masquerade, my most anticipated upcoming game of next year. Now if you're here and you're watching this video, you're probably excited about the game, just like me. I've just recently finished through Bloodlines 1. It was hell. It was hell on earth, let me tell you. Final boss. So many blood packs. So much internal screaming. By now, all the clans that are playable in the game have been revealed. Of course, this doesn't count the potential new DLC clans that have been confirmed and will be eventually introduced into the game via patches, DLC, what have you. But for now, I'm going to be covering the 5 base game clans that we know of, and more specifically what exactly makes them weak, their weaknesses. It occurred to me while I was watching one of the clan reveals that during my clan crash course series that I did not too long ago, I'd never really gone into any detail about any of the clan's weaknesses, the cons of picking whichever clan that, calls to your heart. I covered absolutely none of them, so today that is the goal, and we are going to be discussing the clan weaknesses of the playable clans of Bloodlines 2. So first up we have the Tremere. Now, Tremere are the magic users of the Masquerade, the weavers of the blood. And it's safe to say that the fact that other clans don't trust them at all is fair due to the fact that they can do some really gnarly stuff. Like this.
I can make a turn on you. Become your worst enemy.
I'm just saying, if I was a vampire and I met another vampire that was capable of doing that, I would be out of there. I would not trust that vampire. I'd be like, okay, nice to meet you, mate. Bye. And their distrustful reputation works against them. They're known as the schemers, willing to go to any lengths necessary to gain whatever knowledge they're seeking, because after all, in their eyes, knowledge is power. The way that this distrust works into the gameplay of Bloodlines 2, Tremere will take more damage from other vampires in combat compared to other clans. So if you're playing a Tremere and you find yourself cornered by, let's say, I don't know, like 3 Bruja, brawlers, they're gonna kick your ass. It's not to say that you're going to die, however, you're gonna have to be a little bit more mindful of your health bar if you decide to play as a Tremere. These blood magic users can pack a punch with their abilities. I mean, Thaumaturgy, Blood Boil, that alone is just, like, I want that power in real life, just saying, like, it's pretty dope. So if you pick Clan Tremere, it'll just pay to be a little bit more mindful of your health bar in combat situations. Now, the Tories, my clan in particular, they are a clan that values humanity more than other vampires do. They want to enjoy human experiences and savor them. Being around humans kind of makes them feel. However, when they are isolated from humans, their willpower regenerates a little bit slower. Now this one is a little bit weird for a gameplay mechanic, but with the current lore around Toreadors in Volume 5 of the tabletop, currently it does kind of work. So the longer you isolate yourself from humans, if you're a Toreador, you begin to, lose yourself a little bit. Your willpower, you have none. None you have. Willpower, none you have. As weird as this one is, it makes a lot more sense than being transfixed by the beauty of a painting, which doesn't really translate over to a gameplay experience very well outside of tabletop, Tories want to enjoy all the things humans do, to a point where they can get pretty sadistic in order to experience said things. If they're away from all the creature comforts humans have, and the humans themselves, the little shreds of humanity that a Toreador vampire may have at that time, that little shred of humanity that they have left over from their human life, it will slowly weaken and fade away. So hit the nightclubs, dance your little undead heart out, because in the end that will make you a stronger Toreador in Bloodlines 2. Now, the Malkovians are interesting. I've recently talked about the Malkovians quite a bit on this channel, I'd say. And a big part of what makes them so interesting is also what makes them an easy target. They hear things, see things that others can't, and tend to have a bizarre, cryptic way with words. Some Malkovians consider it a gift, others consider it more of a curse, and others just don't give a shit. They're just doing them, you know? They're living their best lives. The clan's derangement is their weakness. Playing as a Malkovian will affect dialogue, and I imagine how your character sees the world, and you yourself as the player controlling your Malkovian vampire, it'll affect how you experience the game too. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. In case you're as new to this as I am, if you're new to the world of darkness, in the tabletop, Malkovians can suffer from things called derangements. They include things from anxiety to schizophrenic disorders, which are real things in this world. Actual people do suffer from stuff like this. Some of the derangements can include things influenced by a vampire's disciplines, like a blood fetish. Yeah, it's a little bit whack. Like I mentioned earlier, I recently have been speaking about the Malkovians quite a bit on this channel, and the last video that I made on the Malkovians on Bloodlines 2 was about how them as a clan and mental illness will be represented in Bloodlines 2. If you want to check it out, have a looky through my channel and you'll definitely find it as one of my more recent uploads. But just to sum it up really quickly for newcomers that are just stopping by, basically, long story short, the developers of Bloodlines 2 are going to be focusing on not so much rewriting a Malkovian. The Malkovians as a clan are still going to be, you know, true to the ones we know and love, but they're doing more research into mental health, and despite staying true to how Malks behave, they also aim to be more mindful of those who suffer from mental illness. And my camera ran out of memory really quick, so time to recollect where the fuck I was at. Yay! So how a change in the representation of mental health will affect gameplay, I am not entirely sure, but when it comes to Malkovians, derangement is a huge part of what makes them tick, for the better or worse. I imagine one of the things that they're looking into will be consulting with actual people that know their shit about mental illness, like for example, like doctors and psychologists and actual people that suffer from it. Listening to those voices and then with respect being able to incorporate that into the representation of the Malkovians. Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice did a very similar thing, and they were very open about the process behind that. If you haven't checked out that game, you should. It's really good. And there's also a lot of developer diaries about that game and how they covered mental illness. But back to the Malkovians, because we're not talking about Senua's Sacrifice, even though I could gush about that game just so much. I love it. We are talking about Bloodlines 2, and overall with the Malkovian side of things, I do feel like this derangement, since they're being so vocal about how the Malkovians will be represented, will be tied into what makes their clan curse tick. The Bruja are known for being the loud, rebellious vampires of the Masquerade. You often find them as anarchs, rebelling against the Camarilla, because honestly, low-key, fuck the Camarilla. I don't like them. But maybe that's just because I'm salty over my experience with LaCroix. Screw that guy. Their most notable trait is their rage, which is both their greatest strength and their downfall. They're a passionate fucking lot, and that passion is used for many things, from ending a fight in their favour to pushing forward their more scholarly pursuits, because they're not just, you know, the beat 'em up brawler kinds, you know, they've got some wits about them. And in Bloodlines 2, that rage makes them more likely to go into a frenzy. If you're new to Vampire the Masquerade, going into a frenzy is about what you're picturing in your mind. If a vampire hasn't fed in the wild, they're low on blood and their power is dwindling, they'll go into a frenzy, attacking whatever's nearby in the hopes to sate that thirst. I actually had a very funny experience with frenzying in Bloodlines 1. I will talk about that in another video more fully, because I do want to actually have a sit down and talk about Bloodlines 1 at some point. But overall, just to quickly explain what happened, I beat a boss, low on blood, like I had no blood, I was thirsty, and I was playing a melee Toreador. I want you to keep that in mind, I was a Toreador. I nicknamed my Toreador an axe-wielding gay because that is literally what she was. She wielded an axe and was very, very gay. And my poor lesbian Toreador, she finished talking to a character, and as soon as she finished talking to this character, she punches the crap out of them, runs on all fours down the street, leaps onto a hobo and drains them dry. People are screaming, a cop is shooting her. It's chaos, I couldn't control it. That was my first time frenzying, and I was just staring at my computer, just open-mouthed, and inevitably it led to her final death. Frenzying it's fucking wild, man. So if you weren't sure what frenzying was, it's basically that, losing control and being really fucking thirsty. And I guess as a Bruja, with your inner rage, if you will, you will be more likely to go into a frenzy. Finally, but not least, the Ventrue. Now, with a title like the Clan of Kings, it's not surprising to learn that Ventrue see themselves as regal, very sophisticated. They want the best blood there is and won't lower themselves to drinking from the likes of lowlifes and rats as some vampires resort to doing. Which plays into their weakness. Ventrue will receive less blood from blood bags and humans with a low resonance because after all, they want the best of the best. Only the finest humans with the best resonance are worthy of feeding upon in a Ventrue's eyes, and just like in Bloodlines 1, we'll probably have some bad repercussions from drinking bad blood. Now in Bloodlines 2 they are introducing a resonance system, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it is present currently in the V5 version of the tabletop game, which is why they're incorporating it into Bloodlines 2 now. From my understanding, resonance means people have like a certain taste to their blood depending on their moods. So for example, if you drink from somebody that is angry and feeling rage, you know, you're going to get a little something extra from that. And the same if someone is fearful or horny, basically. And some blood is also better than others, and I guess the resonance system you can like pick up on that somehow. I'm not entirely sure, but I know resonance is going to play a key factor into hunting in Bloodlines 2, and I guess your experience as a Ventrue overall. And with that, that is pretty much everything I have on the weaknesses of the base game Vampires. Eventually, I do want to cover Gangrel, because I am very, very certain that Gangrel are going to be incorporated into Bloodlines 2 at some point. And I want to do like a whole video, not just on their weakness, but about the clan as a whole, in case not too many people are familiar with them, because Gangrel are cool, okay? They're cool, and if you don't know them, you'll probably like them once you get to know them. If you play Bloodlines 1, Beckett is my favourite. He is best boy. He's just cool. I love him. I have an undying love for Beckett, okay? Sorry, not sorry. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of it, and if you have any corrections to anything that I've said, or more knowledge on how some of the derangements work in the tabletop, please feel free to let me know, because I want to learn more about it. I am just a random bumbling idiot on the internet that is just overly excited about a game, and I'm very eager to learn more about it, so feel free to drop your knowledge if you have any. You know, you're not being a dick or anything. We're all about learning shit as a collective group here, or at least that's how I like to think about it. So yeah, go bananas, share some knowledge, we all get to learn things. Teamwork.
If you do want to support the channel, please do consider checking out my Patreon. We've got some cool rewards on there, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find something that's your cup of tea. And of course, as always, a massive thank you to my current patrons. They are Nicholas Montoya, Kazgirl, Kuladora, Kay, and Zach Finalch. And if you want to see your name shouted out at the end of the video, just like these guys right here, do hop on over to my Patreon and yeah, have a look at the rewards on offer. Or if you don't want to deal with the whole monthly subscription stuff, do consider checking out my Ko-Fi. If an easy, breezy, or once-off donation is more your thing, do check that out.
Anyway, it is IceWire signing off, and I'll see you 2 bits later next time on the channel. Have a lovely day / night wherever you are, and well, and I'll see you guys next time.